In this episode, Golden and I discuss the new DC animated movie, Superman, Man of Tomorrow. Full speed ahead. Welcome to the Omega Beam number 94. I'm your host, Oren Merton. So Warner Brothers has released a lot of DC animated movies over the years, and most of them for the last 8 years or so have been part of one long continuity. Well, now that that continuity is finished, they're reintroducing Superman, sort of Superman year one, when he just got to Metropolis and was starting out. We give some very minor spoilers in this, but it's nothing you're not going to pick up just from the trailer. So whether you've seen it or not, you're ready to go. Let's get to it. I am here with Golden to talk about the new DC animated movie, Superman, Man of Tomorrow. What did you think?
I really enjoyed it.
I did too.
I really, one of the things that struck me with watching it is usually you have, okay, here's your superhero, here's the big bad evil character. Okay, here's the evil plot, take down the evil plot, done.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like, yeah, you had your villain in Lex Luthor, but a couple of the other characters that came in that you might think, especially if you're not familiar with them, Lobo and Parasite,
Mm-hmm.
you're like, oh gosh, they're going to be evil. And it really wasn't about that. It was about, here's a problem, and let's figure out a solution.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that this, from what I understand, with the previous DC animated movie, Justice League Dark Apocalypse War, that kind of ended the many, many years. I mean, I think from 2012 or something. It's been a lot of years, 8 years worth of animated movies. Those were all part of a specific DC animated continuity. And this is the first, and it may not be a continuity. It's just this is outside of the previous long saga. This is its own standalone original thing. It's kind of like Superman year one. Superman hasn't been doing this long. It starts when he doesn't even have his suit yet. He's sort of learning.
It starts even before then.
Yeah, it does.
It opens up with a view of something that happened to him as a child. That was very troubling and upsetting to him.
Exactly, yeah. And I have to say that I did not know much about this going in. I'd seen the sneak peek from the previous Justice League Dark Apocalypse War, where it basically just talked about who was in the cast and said we're going to have Lobo and we're going to have Parasite, and it said basically this is Superman kind of year one, and that's all I knew. And from that first scene you just mentioned where he's with a friend and he has a bit of a traumatic experience, my first thought was, hey, I have not seen this before. That we have retold these Superman stories and we know these characters from the comics and from movies, from TV. These characters exist in so many media at this point, and yet I was seeing something fresh. And that immediately got me involved. Okay, cool. This isn't just another version of the same story that I heard. I read in Wikipedia that this was a very, very loose adaptation of a 2015 comic miniseries called Superman American Alien, which I didn't read. So I was unfamiliar with that, and I couldn't tell you how loose. But so many of the animated movies that are based on comics, they are so close. They hew so close to the comic that I know it. And sometimes that's good because you just really love the comic and you want to see what you read. And sometimes it's a little bit ho-hum because you already know the story. So the great reveals you already know, and it's not as exciting as it would be if you were coming in completely fresh. And I think this
was a very fresh take on Lois intro.
Oh yeah, great take of
very
of
very
Lois
nice
Lane.
intro to Lois Lane.
Yeah, it was sort of Lois year one as well as
Yeah.
Superman year one, and you're not used to seeing that. Even in ones where Superman isn't necessarily Superman, Lois is still Lois. Lois has been doing what she's been doing. She's got her Pulitzer Prize. She's the journalist to beat. And this one, they're both kind of starting out. And it's exciting and it's fresh. And it means that they're not like massively in love with each other in this. And it means that they're not necessarily best of friends yet.
And then there's some cute little Batman digs. Like little.
Yeah, well, you have to mention Batman. I mean, how can you have a DC movie and not at least mention Batman?
It's cute.
It is cute. And I think the voice actors did a great job. The story was great. The voice acting was great. I really liked how the world was very modern. Metropolis had kind of a sci-fi look. They had futuristic tech. Everyone's got a phone. It's kind of like our world, but a little bit advanced. And yet, they also made old school models. The animation model for Superman, it had the old suit with the red underpants. J'onn J'onzz, the Martian Manhunter, instead of the kind of more rounder look that they've been giving him in some more modern tales, he had the really angular, like 50s look.
I like how you just skipped the part where before Superman even got his suit. Yeah, when he does enter the atmosphere, your clothes do tend to burn up.
They do. That your clothes, they're not going to withstand re-entry.
So it was kind of funny just to kind of see a naked Superman being kind of hidden, the important parts being hidden.
But like I said, fresh. That's not something we'd seen in
It
other
was
movies.
funny.
Yeah.
It was just something that added a little bit of light humor without being inappropriate.
Right. I remember, I'm not sure if I said it on this podcast. I know I've said it in life that my favorite versions of Lex Luthor are not the mustache twirling, super evil, I am going to do bad because I'm Lex type of versions of him, but they're the ones where he will work with the good guys, but he's always really just working for himself. And that is the Lex they went with for this one, and that makes me happy because he was not just I'm evil to be evil. He was I have things I want to do, and sometimes I'm working with the heroes.
And you also mentioned that Lobo mentions Earth being in Sector 2814.
Yes, which as those of us who like Green Lantern know, that Green Lantern is the Green Lantern of Section 2814, which is the sector that Earth is in. So I thought that was a nice Green Lantern reference without introducing Green Lantern in this movie. They don't introduce a lot of heroes. This is a Superman movie. We do get to meet J'onn J'onzz, who I think J'onn J'onzz works extremely well in stories of the super family. I think he works great in Supergirl, the CW series. He works great in this movie because he too is from another planet. And it gives them something to identify with, something to talk about. They're natural collaborators and friends. So I thought that was a very good choice. And they got a really good voice actor to voice him as well. I didn't recognize just from film a lot of voice actors, but I did immediately recognize Zachary Quinto, who did Lex Luthor and did a marvelous Lex Luthor.
Oh, yeah. And I think that, like I said, it was just kind of nice to have, hey, there's a problem.
Right.
Let's figure out how to resolve the problem.
Exactly.
And it wasn't just about, oh, here's the villain and here's...
Exactly.
We have to defeat the evil villain's plot.
Exactly. I thought the guy who played Superman, Darren Criss, whom I didn't recognize his voice, but you pointed out to me that I had seen him and liked him a lot in the Flash Supergirl musical crossover.
Music Meister.
That was a really fun show between those two series because, as it happens, both actors our musical theater.
I think they were both on Glee
Yeah,
together.
and they were both in Glee.
Never
So
watched it, but
they were part of a just wonderful episode, and Darren Criss, his music meister, sets it all up, and he does a wonderful job with the voice. I had never heard of
Alexandra
Alexandra
Daddario.
Daddario, but she plays that kind of younger, punkier Lois Lane really nicely with a wonderful verve. Yeah, it was a well-written story, well put together. The animation was good, the music was good.
Yeah, I mean, apparently I'd seen Alexandra Daddario on White Collar
Uh-huh.
years and years and years ago, back between 2009 and 2014. But she was in the Percy Jackson movies.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But otherwise, I was not that familiar with her.
So this movie has like an amazingly high Rotten Tomatoes. It has like 100% Rotten Tomatoes as far as the critics go. And I certainly think it's deserved. It's an excellent movie. I do understand that some people who really loved the long running continuity of the DC animated universe might be sad that this is a whole new Superman and a whole new story. And this could possibly be the beginning of a Superman saga. That this I could see this spawning other movies in its continuity, because they certainly set up mentioning other characters, introducing other characters. There's a lot of room for Superman and Lois to grow. You know, I think there's a lot of places they can go from where this movie left off, and I hope that those people who may have been disappointed that their previous long running continuity is now finished will give this one a chance.
I
'Cause
love
it's
the
really
fact that at
good.
the very beginning of the movie, he's just running around basically in jeans, a
Yeah,
leather aviator's jacket, and
sure.
a hat and goggles.
In a way, this wasn't hard. This doesn't necessarily harken back to it, but in 2011, when the DC Comics had their New 52 and they kind of rebooted everything, Grant Morrison did Action Comics where he was doing his Superman year one stuff, and he had Superman in blue jeans and a white T-shirt with the House of L symbol on the white T-shirt, and that was his thing. And this is different, but it's that
sounds like type.
yeah, yeah. So this is different, but it certainly, goes back to that. Before he has his full suit, he's just going to wear what makes sense, what's comfortable. He doesn't have, a costume, quote unquote, to go out and fight crime or whatever. So, yeah, this was a really well written series. My hat is off to Tim Sheridan, who wrote this movie. He really did a good job with it.
And to be fair, I wasn't like super excited about seeing the movie.
Right.
I was like, okay, let's go ahead and watch it. And about 5 minutes in, I was already like, wow, this is really nice.
It
and
is.
And I do like the word refreshing for it.
Mm-hmm.
Because it didn't seem like the same thing.
Right.
And the Parasite storyline
Mm-hmm.
was very well done.
Yeah.
Not really knowing much about Parasite,
Mm-hmm.
I really like the evolution and the way that story grew and how it ended. Not knowing very much about Lobo,
Mm-hmm.
I thought I really enjoyed the interaction between Lobo and Superman, and they were saying something in one of the special features, I don't remember which one it was, about how they were able to kind of go off the rails and just have fun with it.
Right.
And Lois Lane going in to interview Lobo that conversation is probably something that you've never seen done in an animated series or movie before.
Right. Right.
Because it is just all sorts of fun. Well, it wasn't fun for Lois.
No.
It was definitely fun for Lobo.
Yeah. Lobo definitely was in control of that interview, and it was very fun to see. Lois handled herself, with a lot of decorum, though.
And I'm looking at like the IMDb trivia, and I guess Lobo's words are frag and bastich,
Mm-hmm.
or bostich, whatever, whichever it is. and was invented for the character of Lobo to circumvent comic book censorship back in the 1990s.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because what other science fiction series picked up Frag?
That's a great question.
Battlestar Galactica?
Oh, Battlestar Galactica. No, I
Yeah.
thought it was Frack.
Is it Frag?
Yeah,
No, never mind.
they were into Frack.
Go see it. See what you think of it.
Yeah, it's available streaming. I believe they showed the whole thing as part of the DC Fandom yesterday.
Did they?
I think they did. I could be wrong though, but I think it was part of it. Maybe they just did a preview of it.
Because we are recording this on September 13th.
Right. We are recording this on September 13th, and I believe that on September 12th, the second day of DC Fandom, they had, if not the whole thing, a preview of it. So, which makes sense because, in physical cons, they would usually bring the latest DC animated movie to watch in a big venue with big sound.
So on a completely separate note, I had this idea yesterday, and I'm just curious what our listeners would also think. If you got to pay $5 to $10 to stream the first 15 to 20 minutes of Wonder Woman 84, would you do it? I know we would. I mean, all of us want to see it on the big screen. We
Right.
want it, how it was meant to be viewed. But I would definitely pay $5 to $10 just to watch the first few minutes, just to kind of wet my whistle and keep me going until it is finally released.
Until it is finally. Yeah, the impetus for when we were talking about this is, for those who don't know, Wonder Woman 1984
Pushed back
was
to December.
Yeah, it was pushed back till Christmas because,
and Oren thinks it will be pushed back to 2021 because that will be Wonder Woman's anniversary.
Yeah, I mean, Wonder Woman's 80th anniversary is in 2021, and at that point, if box office hasn't recovered by Christmas, it completely makes sense to just use this movie, Wonder Woman 1984, as part of the celebration of Wonder Woman's 80th anniversary. But, we'll see one way or another what they do with it. And until then, we have Superman, Man of Tomorrow. Definitely worth a watch or rental. I don't know if it's going to be streaming. I'm sure at some point it will be streaming for free. If not on the DC Universe app, which is not long of this earth, it will be on HBO Max, I'm sure, at some point in the very near future. But until then, it's absolutely worth a rental or a purchase. We buy them all because I like all the special features and when they have animated shorts too. That's awesome. They didn't with this one, but they had a bunch of making of and stuff, which were fun. Thank you, Golden.
You are welcome.
And that's it for this episode. You can find the show notes at theomegabeam.com/94. If you like this episode, please leave a review wherever you listen to podcasts. It's those reviews that help other people who like this stuff find our podcast. If you have any comments or suggestions, please drop us a line at info@theomegabeam.com. Be good to yourselves and each other, and we'll catch you next time.